it is just a couple days before December, and I can't even get an opening out. My guests are catching fish right behind me. Today I'm going to be fishing with Larry Andrews and Jerry Rosenbarker. We're out on the St. Lawrence River. We're in Akwesasne, New York, and we're in one of my very favorite places in the whole world. But this show, I think, is going to be really interesting. First, I got some great fishermen with us. Second of all, we're going to teach you some techniques. And most of all, we're going to show you that when most people quit fishing in the year, you don't have to. You can come out and you can take advantage of fishing. Just look at what Larry's got right now. Very first cast.
First cast with
First cast. It's cold as heck. We're out in the St. Lawrence River, and he's got a something.
He's running good. He's a good one.
Is it?
Oh yeah, he's a decent one. The other side, the other side. We didn't even get the net out.
This is unbelievable.
First cast, water temperature's 45 degrees. I came and left him, and he's a giant.
Is it? Is it a big one?
He's a good one. I got him by one hook.
Yeah, get the net out. Hold on.
I'll wait for Jerry to net him, because I don't want to lift him. I got him by one in the nose by one little hook. There you go.
It's a 3-pounder. Solid 3 and change.
First cast on the St. Lawrence Seaway. On a suspending.
What do you think of this?
Oh, it's a great fishery.
That's 2 fish in the boat on 2 casts.
2 casts, stick bait, cold water. This is the quality of fish, and it's even going to get better.
You see what I mean? Today's going to be pretty special. First of all, and I got to tell you, the guys I'm fishing with are avid bass fishermen. When they aren't working, even when they're working, they're probably thinking about fishing, and especially bass fishing. And I think this is a treat for them as well, to come up to this area. You know, a lot of people don't realize that in New York, we got the finest, maybe the finest bass fishing in the whole country. And I know a lot of you guys down south are really, you know, probably take an exception to that. But the fishing here is fantastic. And today, here in the St. Lawrence River, again, it's November 29th, and we're all stuffed from Thanksgiving dinner, but we're going to wear some of that off, I hope, today, catching some of these big smallies. Now, I'm fishing with a jig, and Jerry in the front of the boat, running the trolling motor, he's got a jig on as well, and Larry is using a
Rapala, a suspended.
So we'll see what works the best. And as we catch more fish, we'll show you just how to use these baits.
We're in a good body of water right here, a good section on the St. Lawrence Seaway. The last time we were out here, we caught 100 fish. 100 fish day, and we finally left. We were fatigued at the end of the day.
The water is that clear, but we're only in 4 feet of water.
So
Okay, hook that one on and I'll watch it.
slide them like this so you have the flat part on the inside of the gap. That way you have a little more meat to your hook.
Okay, gotcha.
Part's on the bottom.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. Now, that's going to make a huge difference. I know.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to get a strike this cast.
And for this application, I'm throwing fluorocarbon, 10-pound test. Very clear. We're fishing clear water. I got a split ring and a swivel snap, so I get a little more action out of the bait, and it just hovers. It don't sink, it don't float. It sits neutral in the water, and the fish just take their time, come up to it, and mouth it very slow. And it casts a mile. You'll see this bait suspend. It just sits right in the water column. It just suspends right there. It doesn't really rise or float. And that's what the X-Wraps are designed to do for the cold water.
So, Larry, that's how you're fishing it. You're just letting it...
I'm just letting it sit right in the fish's face.
And then now and then jerking it.
Just now and then just give a little twitch, not too aggressively. And just give it a little twitch, and the fish will... They can see it from a long distance in this clear water. And they'll just swim right up to it and just mouth it very softly. And then you just got to keep a taut line. Not tight, just taut, just enough to feel them. Sometimes you got to count to 5. Sometimes maybe 10 seconds you got to let it sit. Depends on what the fish wants.
In a sense, you're doing the same thing with the jig on the bottom. You let it sit sometimes, and it's just sitting there in their face, and they can't standard. They're looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. If it starts to move even the slightest, they're on it.
And you wouldn't think this color would be attractive to women. Very clear water. And for some reason, this hot pink color is dynamite.
But what we're doing is we're casting, at this point right now downstream, you can cast either way. We're drifting downstream as we're going, but casting down current from us, letting the jig hit the bottom, and then just kind of just dragging it. Now, everybody has a little bit different way that they work jigs along the bottom. Even though they might try to copy each other, everybody has a little bit different feel. But what you have to envision or visualize in your mind is what that jig is looking like as it's coming across the bottom, what those fish see. And you don't want it just screaming back to you because the water's so cold, they're not going to chase it. So you want to just let it kind of hang there, just twitch it a little bit, crawl it a little bit. And when you get a strike, it will be a sudden little tick, a tap, a thunk on your line. And that's why having a good rod with good lines does make a difference because it transmits it a little bit better. But that's what you're looking for. You're just looking for some little change. The strikes will be so subtle that it'll feel like you've picked up some weeds or something. But it'll be actually that fish is just picked it up and holding it. But it's not as difficult as I'm saying. I don't think it's nearly as difficult as the feel required for steelhead fishing, but it is subtle fishing.
Fish, especially in the cold water, barely crawl across the bottom. The more natural you make it look, the more apt those fish, especially in clear water, are to bite it.
It's a great point. Obviously, these fish think these jigs are food, so you got to make it look like the food that they eat and how that food normally looks to them in the wild. See, the other thing that's interesting about where we're fishing is this is a long stretch of shoreline. I say shoreline because we can see the shore pretty close to us, and shallow water, but there'll be a series of weeds that you can see in the water. Those aren't what we're really looking for. But then there'll be broken areas of just bare bottom. It's rocky, gravelly, and these are the sections that the fish seem to hold on. They seem to hold in these big tables in between the weeds. Good Polaroids make a big difference because you can kind of see where to cast. But because the water is so clear here and it is so shallow. But those bass are on those open areas in between the weeds. That's the best place here.
Another good point, we're in such shallow water that, like Jerry and Don said, we shut all our electronics off because the sound that it makes, the ticking noise, the fish know we're here. So that's that's another reason we're drifting with the wind. Not to hit the trolling motor, we have our electronics off, because we don't need them out here. We can see the bottom, it's 4 foot. So that's the reason why we got the electronics off. Not to alert the fish to our presence being here. It's 55,
that's
56.
not too bad. It's not too bad.
I think 55, 56.
Then we must have 56. Only thing, huh? Wow.
That's a good one.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
Right there.
When you can catch bass like this,
He's solid 3 1/4, 3 1/2.
All right. Did you get our faces, our heads?
We're all good.
You make sure. Pitch it over.